Good morning, everybody. We are live on Bigo Live. We are also recording on Zoom. Hope you are having an amazing start to the day, or if you're somewhere else in the world, hope you are having a great day, whatever time it is. So this is the time that I take some time to do some reading. And as always, this is the book that I was planning to read, but I only have it in Chinese at the moment. So that is actually something that I'm studying in Chinese to practice my Chinese. But I'm not going to read it for you in Chinese. So we're reading this one at the moment, The Art of Thinking Clearly. Has a very shiny cover. We've already read quite a few chapters of this one. Where are we up to? We're up to chapter 10. And chapter 10, leave your supermodel friends at home. Who has supermodel friends? Not officially, but I do have some very, very good looking friends. And this one's called The Contrast Effect, which is what we're going to be reading today. And good morning to everybody on Bigo Live that is saying hi. So if it looks like I'm looking at a different camera, it's because I'm recording on the phone and on the computer. And the cameras, I've thought of all sorts of different ways to be able to get them to align. Actually, there might be something we can do about this. Let's see. I don't know if this will be much better, but let's see. Let's move the camera over here. There we go. This should work. Why didn't I think of this a couple of days ago? Okay, it makes the angle a little bit high on Bigo Live, but otherwise it's okay. There we go. I see two of me. That's scary. Freaky. Okay, nice to meet everybody. Here we go. Oh, ta-da. Okay, so we are reading The Art of Thinking Clearly. Clear the throat. Clear the throat a little bit. Otherwise, it is very difficult to read, right? Okay. So in his book Influence, Robert Cialdini tells the story of two brothers, Sid and Harry, who ran a clothing store in the 1930s, America. This is such a classic story. Sid was in charge of sales and Harry led the tailoring department. Whenever Sid noticed that the customers who stood before the mirror really liked their suits, he became a little hard of hearing. He would call to his brother, "Harry, how much for the suit?" Harry would look up from his cutting table and shout back, "For that beautiful cotton suit, $42. This was a completely inflated price at that time. Sid would pretend he hadn't understood. "How much?" Harry would yell again, $42. Sid would then turn to his customer and report, "He says 22. At this point, the customer would have quickly put the money on the table and hastened from the store with the suit before poor Sid noticed his mistake. Maybe you know the following experiment from your school days. Take two buckets, fill the first with lukewarm water and the second with ice water. Dip your right hand into the ice water for 1 minute, then put both hands into the lukewarm water." I think you forgot to dip your left hand into the warm water. Anyhow, dip your right hand into the ice water for 1 minute. Oh, you could do it this way too. Then put both hands into the lukewarm water. What do you notice? The lukewarm water feels as it should to the left hand, but piping hot to the right hand. Both of these stories epitomize the contrast effect. We judge something to be beautiful, expensive, or large if we have something ugly, cheap, or small in front of us to compare it to. We have difficulty with absolute judgments. There is something very quickly that I'm going to share about Sid and Harry, though, and that is that, have any of you heard of muscle testing, where you put your arm out and somebody pushes it down? And if you hold it strong, obviously they can't push it down. But if they get you to say something, there's going to be different effects. So if I hold my arm out and somebody says, "I want you to say that your name is Menno." So my name is Menno. So when they push it down, I can hold it straight. But if I'm lying and I say that my name is Mary, or my name is Jane, or my name is Philip, then as they go to push my arm down, when I'm lying, my arm will actually weaken because my body knows that it's not true. So my body will fight that, and my arm will be weak enough for somebody to push down. Very, very interesting fact around that. So Sid and Harry have a great way of being able to manipulate people to do something. But, okay, I'm going to leave that one there for a second. We're going to say hello to a couple of people that are leaving hearts and different things on Bigo Live. Okay, The contrast effect, back to the contrast effect, is a common misconception. You order leather seats for your new car because compared to the 60,000 price tag on the car, 3,000 seems a pittance for those leather seats. All industries that offer upgrade options exploit this illusion. McDonald's is very famous for this with their pricing. Oh, not that I ever go there, but I have read about the fact that their pricing uses quite a bit of this kind of manipulation. The contrast effect is at work in other places too. Experiments show that people are willing to walk an extra 10 minutes to save $10 on food. But those same people wouldn't dream of walking 10 minutes to save $10 on a $1,000 suit. An irrational move, because 10 minutes is 10 minutes and $10 is $10. Logically, you should walk back in both cases or not at all. Without the contrast effect, the discount business would be completely untenable. A product that has been reduced from $100 to $70 seems better value than a product that has always cost $70. The starting price should play no role. The other day, an investor told me the share is a great value because it's 50% below the peak price. I shook my head. A share price is never low or high. It is what it is, and the only thing that matters is whether it goes up or down from that point. And I'm going to disagree with that slightly, because a share actually does have a value. And that value comes from how much the company is worth. It's going to have pens and chairs and tables, and it's going to have all these different things that give that company a value. So the value of the property itself, the value of the tables and chairs, if you add all of that up and then divide that by the number of shares, that is going to give you how much each share is physically worth. Now, if the share price is below that, even if the company goes bankrupt, the company can still be sold for the actual asset value and the shareholders can be paid back. If the company is, or if the share price is what the actual value of that company is, then again, everything can be sold and the shareholder can get their money back. But let's say that the company is worth $5 million, but per share, the company is valued at $10 million. Now, if the company goes bankrupt, I own shares that are worth $10 million per share, or the equivalent of $10 million for the overall company. But the company can only sell assets for $5 million. That means I'm only getting 50 cents on the dollar back if the company does go bankrupt. So, yes, I'm going to disagree with that one slightly. So, if you're buying it under that value, then the potential for it to go back up to the actual value of all of the assets, the tables, the chairs, everything else in that business is much higher. So that's something that you also need to take into consideration, not just whether the company will go up or down, but that's how a lot of very smart investors will look at an investment, something that Warren Buffett and Benjamin Graham used to talk about. Okay, back to our contrast effect. When we encounter contrast, we react like birds to a gunshot. We jump up and get moving. Our weak spot, we didn't notice small gradual changes. A magician can make your watch vanish because when he presses on one part of your body, you don't notice the lighter touch on your wrist as he relieves you of your Rolex or whatever kind of watch you have. It doesn't have to be a Rolex. Similarly, we fail to notice how our money disappears. Actually, I don't wear a watch at all. I haven't worn a watch in years. And the time is not that important to me. I have a mobile phone. It will tell me when I need to be somewhere or do something. But generally, I like to just flow with time. Flow with everything. That's why I'm free flow Menno, you see. Okay. Oh, look at this. I got some flowers and love hearts and all sorts of beautiful things. Very nice. Thank you. Okay. So, similarly, we fail to notice how our money disappears. It constantly loses its value. But we do not notice because inflation happens over time and very slowly, but not right now, because right now inflation is going crazy. But the governments are doing a good job of making it look like it's not going crazy. I did a YouTube video on that. If it were imposed on us in the form of a brutal tax, and basically that's what it is, we would be outraged. The contrast effect can ruin your whole life. A charming woman marries a fairly average man. But because her parents were awful people, the ordinary man appears to be a prince. One final thought. Bombarded by advertisements featuring supermodels, we now perceive beautiful people as only moderately attractive. This is very true. There is a study that was done that shows that very, very average, or no, the study showed that, this is the fun thing about doing this live and not having read the chapter in a long time. So there was a study done that showed that people are not as attracted to their own partners because they perceive them as very average, even though they might be really beautiful. And that's because we compare everything to the supermodels. But if you've ever seen some of those supermodels without makeup, without Photoshop, without all of those things, they're not as hot as you might think they are. They often have things that they hide, and blemishes and cellulite and different other things, but we just don't show that because we don't want to. But it makes our own partners seem less attractive because of that. So don't fall for that one. If you're seeking a partner, never go out in the company of your supermodel friends. People will find you less attractive than you really are. Go alone, or better yet, take two ugly friends. Again, if we come back to the muscle testing I was talking about before, probably less of a good idea. Take people that you feel comfortable with and just be yourself. And yes, when it comes to prices and different other things, beware that sometimes they're going to use the contrast effect to see if they can trick you into spending more of your money. But when it comes to just going out, just be yourself and have a good time. And don't see if you can manipulate the system. Okay, so that was chapter 10. And next time, tomorrow morning, we're going to be reading chapter 11, which is why we prefer a wrong map to no map at all. And this one's called the availability bias. So I'm looking forward to reading that for you tomorrow. The Art of Thinking Clearly. Great book. Eventually, I will get Rich Dad Poor Dad in English again, and then I'll read some of that to you. There's lots of other great books that I have been reading at the moment that I will share with you as well. And we might mix it up a little bit. We'll see how we go. Send me a comment, send me a message, let me know what you think, let me know your thoughts. If there's something you agree or disagree on, let me know that as well. And have a great day today. Remember to take some time to read every single day, because it has so many amazing advantages. It'll help you sleep, it'll help you to connect better with other people. It will allow you to be able to become smarter, and you can read about the things. It'll reduce depression. You can read about things. So if you are struggling with finances and you read a book like Rich Dad Poor Dad, in English in this case, it will allow you to find solutions to the things that are stressing you and worrying you, as opposed to not reading and continuing to just think about the problem, and it'll just get bigger and bigger. So have a great day. I will see you tomorrow, and I'm looking forward to reading some more for you tomorrow as well.